What's up?
Good morning.
A little bit of a change. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Doing great.
Good,
Doing
Your
awesome.
place looks great. Is awesome.
Yeah, the
as
virtual
usual. How do you keep it so clean?
Yeah, I mean, make sure the maid comes to the virtual background every Friday.
Man, you are always on top of things.
Yeah.
You make me look like a slob. It's why you can only see this much of my room or whatever. How's everybody doing today? We have Mario Menduni with us. Super excited. Mario is going to be talking about how to scale. He's got some tips and tricks. Mario's got a ton of experience scaling, ShineOn products in particular. He's hit a winner. I think he's helped scale a winner or two winners, let's say, every holiday for like the last 18 months or something like that. I mean, he knows how to catch some waves here. Good morning, Facebook user from Snellville, Georgia. Facebook user, good morning, Mario. Anxiously expecting your ideas. You got a fan. Sydney from Kenya, what's up? Mauricio, how you doing? Gary from sunny Atlanta. I wish it was sunny here, man. I'm in Kansas City. It was like 80 degrees 2 days ago, and I had a dusting of snow on our friggin' deck this morning. I'm just so tired of winter.
Forget that.
Yeah. Cheers from LA. What's up? We have Facebook user from France. Hey, lots of Facebook users today. Go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and give StreamYard permission to show your name, so we know who we're talking to. Sabrina from Germany. What's up? How we doing? We got Palo Alto, California. Philly. Christina is excited. Let's do it. UK. Indonesia. What's up? All right, this is looking good. What's up, Dean? How we doing? All right. Let's talk a little bit about today, and then I've got some announcements. I'm going to try to do these really quick today. I think I've received some feedback that they take up a little bit of time. So I'm going to move quick. We're going to be talking about scaling today with Mario. Mario's got some tips and tricks he's going to be sharing. We're really excited to get into those. And then towards the end of this, we have a special announcement. There's something new coming out that we want to tell you about. We think you'll be able to take advantage of it for Mother's Day, and we're excited to bring this to you. So stay tuned for that. All right, let's get into it. You know how we kick things off around here? Nothing is well in the world until the digital marketer's toast. Are you ready, everybody? You got a drink, right, Mario?
Cheers.
All right, let's do it. Raise up your glasses, mugs, bottles, and flasks. Join me now for the digital marketer's toast. Here's to more conversions, more cash, cheap CPMs, and lower CACs, higher CTRs, much higher CVRs to enable ad accounts and big bank accounts, upsells, downsells, and cross-sells, to winning products and repeat sales. They're the thing that everybody knows. The riches are in the niches, but also your email flows. Are you ready? Cheers, everybody. Drink up. There we go. There we go. I got me Ethiopian light roast today.
Wow, fancy.
Delicious.
You got Sin City something or other. It's really good.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a coffee snob. I'm known to roast my own from time to time.
Sweet.
Cheers, everybody. All right. Do me a favor. If you like what we bring you week after week, if you like the content, if you like what we're doing here at ShineOn, like the post. If you're on YouTube, like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do all that fun stuff. Drop some emojis in the chat. What's your favorite emoji, Mario?
Oh, I don't know, anything with a money sign or an up chart.
Let's get some money signs in the chat. Let's go. Money signs in the chat. There's a bunch of those. It must be a pretty popular emoji because there's a bunch of variations on them.
Yeah, right.
Here, guess I will join with a glass of wine. Well, you do you, Sabrina. You do you. Too late for coffee in France? It's never too late for coffee in Europe. I think any time is a good time to hit some espresso. All right, there's some money. Look at that. You got the flying bills, the money bags.
Matt with the Mo money.
I don't see him. He's not. Oh, there he is.
Yep.
There we go. That's like a St. Patrick's Day thing going on there almost. All right. Thank you, everybody. Let's do it. Gary coming in with those charts he asked for.
Yep.
Look at that. Detail-oriented. We like that. Okay. Let's go. I'm going to make this quick. Testimonials. Stacy, Etsy results so far this year, $530 or euros, let's say, in revenue. Congratulations, Stacy. Thanks for sharing this. Looks like Stacy dropped some tips too. You can see Etsy tip right here. Go check this out if you want to learn it. Just search for Stacy Connolly in the Facebook group to find it. Thank you for sharing this. You'll have some swag coming your way. Praveen, thank you, ShineOn and Eric, for this wonderful opportunity. Found my second winning product. Want to see whether this is a fluke or will pour more water to the plant in the coming days. Basically saying he's going to throw more money at it to try to get it to scale. Congratulations, Praveen. Thanks for sharing and for the screenshot. You've got some swag coming your way. And look, he's dropping some tips here as well. So go look up Praveen's post in the group and see what he has to say. And then Dean here, my amazing wife Tamara and I launched our first ever ShineOn Facebook ads this Monday, and we've passed $1,000 in sales. Not profitable over y'all yet, as we've tested 7 products. I could have been more conservative with not letting things spin as much, but we have a couple products that are nice and profitable, which is not a bad start. Coaching definitely helps. Thank you, Michael, Kirsta, and Steven. Thank you, Dean, for sharing your progress, and good luck to you, man. This is a great time to be selling. Mother's Day is it's like Christmas in spring. So things are really about to rocket off. So good work, man. I like to see you taking action. You three have some swag coming your way. If you want to get some swag, drop a post in the group, a testimonial post with a screenshot, a value post, tips and tricks. We really like to see the tips and tricks and people hitting new milestones, $10,000, $100,000. Show us your progress. We want to celebrate with you, and you'll get some free swag coming your way. All right, latest news. We are at 30,000 members in the Facebook group. Thank you, everybody, for all that you do. We really enjoy building ShineOn with you. It's been kind of an amazing journey. When I joined the company probably 2 years ago, I think there were only like 10,000 or 11,000 people in the Facebook group. And it's just been really cool to see it grow to where it's at today. And we don't let everybody in the Facebook group. We're kind of stringent on who we let in based on the questions and things like that. So anyway, it's been really fun doing the coffee with Michaels and everything. So yeah, kudos to you guys. Thank you very much for allowing us to be part of your e-commerce journey. It's been a blast. Okay. Do me a favor, folks. We at ShineOn have a company goal around seller net promoter scores. So what that means is we want to make sure we're serving you to the best of our abilities, right? We want to make sure that we're staying tuned in to your needs and your wants and your asks. We want to make sure we're providing you great products, great service, that our customer service is up to par, and so on and so forth, that you love the app experience. And the only way we know if you are really digging what we're putting down here is if we get feedback from you. So this is our attempt to do that, right? And again, this is a company goal, okay? So we have bonuses and things like that internally in the company that literally depend on us knocking it out of the park for you based on your feedback. So do me a favor, please. Go to survey.shineon.com, survey.shineon.com. Take this and let us know how we're doing. It literally takes like 2 minutes to do this quiz, and just be honest. Please be honest, because it will help us improve the service throughout the year. Survey.shineon.com. I would very sincerely appreciate that. Thank you. All right, so new products. Not going to go over these again. I just want to remind you that they're out there, forever linked. This is has a high perceived value. So it's like kind of a high ticket product. We think it retails at $199 or above, and the base cost is $54. So it's just a fantastic base cost. Go check this out in the catalog. Next, we've got the CZ cross necklace. We've had tons of requests for a cross that was a little bit more feminine. You need to go check this out. You will like it. It'll probably sell really well for Mother's Day. Also, plus you have Easter right behind it. So go check it out. This is a great product. Again, it's kind of that feminine cross that's been asked for a lot. And then finally, we've launched some new metal art designs. Excuse me. So go check these out as well. Again, they sell in like 4 different sizes, black, silver, and copper. These can sell really well for Mother's Day and all the way through summer. These are a little bit more evergreen than some of the more gift-centric and seasonal jewelry items. So go check these out. Also, we have live preview that we're working on. We're bringing it to you soon. It's not out yet, but we have a really nice live preview we're trying to bring to you as soon as possible. So stay tuned for that. Okay, and then finally, coaching.shineon.com. If you want to get into our coaching, Kirsten was here talking about this all last week, so go watch that if you want to learn about it. You can get shots of espresso new every, I think we're publishing them on Wednesdays. We flipped that around a little bit. Anyway, you can find all of them if at the top of the group, you just click featured. It'll show all the announcements, and you can see all these shots of espresso and everything else that we put out for you on a weekly basis. So how was that for time? I feel like I halved my time. Wasn't too bad. You still with me? This is why I make everybody drink coffee before I get into it. Just to hang tight. You ready to do this, Mario?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. You guys ready for some scaling tips from Mario? Let's see some more money emojis in the chat if you're ready for scaling tips from Mario. Money emojis in the chat. Let's go. Dean said, I hit a record time. Thank you, Dean.
Nice.
I appreciate that. Acknowledging some hard work. Gail here with some coffee. We're delayed, you and I, about 45 seconds from the chat. Let's go. Dean is excited. Here we go. Facebook user with some money. Let's do it. I need some money, people. Yes, here we go. All right. We ready to rock and roll?
Let's do it.
All right, man. Let's go. Stay tuned because at the end of this, we have a special announcement. You're going to love it. Mario, take it away, buddy.
Okay. So every scale that I've ever done, whether it was drop shipping or, more and more ShineOn, these days, there's a different feel to it each time. There's fundamental concepts that I'll go over here that, you can always build on. But the difference between being able to scale and sort of getting stuck and just not getting to the next tier, there's little intricacies every time that are data driven, or what's happening in the algorithms, or what's working in your specific account, how much optimization you have in your account. There's a lot of factors that are consistent. And there's other factors that change. Okay. So fundamentally, though, with ShineOn products, or really any products, there's going to be times that are obviously slower than others, right? And during those times, you want to stick with the biggest possible evergreen products with as much data as you possibly can think of, right? So on the left here, this is a client that, I helped run the ads for. And this is, one of the slower, you see where the scaling period is. It's in the summer. It's some of the slowest months for ShineOn products, right? It's in a big niche, one of the main niche. I think this might have been like a love niche product, okay? And you see it's kind of spotty, right? So we found patterns in this particular product, times of day, days of the week that we ran the ads, and other times which we literally turned them off for a couple of days at a time, or just ran retargeting. And that way we were able to stay pretty much consistently profitable through that time period. And then you see at the end there's another little spike where this product was pretty played out, but we ran a different strategy to just bring in another, 100 or 200K in Q4. But this is basically all the same card. It didn't really have any post-purchase upsells. This was a product that was a great product, but the only reason that it worked for this whole period of time was that we stacked advantages on top of each other. And there's easily 10 or 20 more moves we could have done to have an even bigger run with that. Whereas if you look at the right, and this is just writing, sure, it's a big niche product, but it's a niche that works specifically well in the fourth quarter. And so in this case, it's a matter of finding a winner and just absolutely flooring that thing. And riding the trend, and sort of a rising tide floats all boats situation. Whereas, you got to squeeze as much as possible out of a slow time on a scale. You have some other moves that you can do to just really lean on that momentum, and you got to know your time period, right? So especially in the fourth quarter, you got to get as much money as quickly as possible, and even quicker for something like Mother's Day, Father's Day, and super quick for Valentine's Day. Fourth quarter, you have, if you get a winner early enough on, you have some time to do some optimization, which allows you to have other strategies you can stack on top. When you're in a slower period of time, you've got a lot of time for optimization. You can use time on your side. You can test more and more variations. You don't have to crank out, let's say your target is to do $1 million. You don't have to crank out that whole million in, a short period of time because you're riding the wave. You can, get more and more base hits, and it'll add up to be, a similar revenue. Right?
Hey man, can I ask a question here on these?
Of course.
So this, I guess first the comment, this is kind of that classic scale to Christmas, right? It's like you scale up like literally to the moon as fast as you possibly can. Like you said, you squeeze every ounce of revenue as you possibly can out of Q4. And then usually like, a few days after that shipping cut off, it's kind of a wall because everybody's got their gifts already. My question to you is, what were the margins? You recall?
You're looking at anything like 15 to 25% end up take home there.
That's awesome, man. You really got the scaling thing figured out. Just so everybody knows, and I'm interested in your take on this too, Mario. If you can even achieve a 10% margin, it's worth pushing to $1-2 million in revenue or more.
Especially with the low return rate of, especially the message card jewelry. Like the return rate's nothing like that. I think there was a return of like less than $5,000 on that 1.3 mil right there, which is insane. There's nothing like that, right? So a product that's more of a gadget or gizmo, you want a little bit more of a margin in there to cover customer service and returns. But nobody returns a piece of a message card jewelry that their mom or their grandma gave them. It's just not a thing that happens.
Yeah, and it's something I want to say out loud for everybody, because if you are trying to scale, if you have a product that you think is winning and you're sitting on margins that are like 5 or 10%, but you can hold the margin, right? Do not be afraid to push that thing to $1 million, because that 5% is 50 grand profit at $1 million. 10% is 100 grand. I mean, it's a lot of money.
Right. And you could sell the store for probably the same or more, and you're in the game. Now your ad accounts, it's cooked. So the next time you do something in that niche, plus you've stress tested your website, so you can reevaluate, okay, what are the things I could have done to have a higher AOV on that scale? Like, what were the mistakes I made in the beginning? Like, what were the false assumptions, right? Because if you had 5 or 10% margin, chances are you were at less than that in the beginning. You might have been at break even on the first, couple 100K or something like that, right? Or you might have been at more, but regardless, your first massive scale, hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, it really puts you in another level of the game and opens up other opportunities that you just didn't even realize were there.
Dude, I totally agree with everything you just said. Like, just getting in the game, it's massive.
Yeah, what Gary's saying in the chat there too, plus the back end too, like the amount of emails you have there and retargeting people that are purchasing might buy for different events.
Yep, totally. Yeah, so just a takeaway. I'll move to the next slide.
Sure.
If you can lock in a margin of 5 or 10%, do not be, and you've got it locked in, right, comfortably. Do not be afraid to put the pedal to the metal, because like it gets you in the game. It cooks up your pixel, right? It makes you look favorable in Facebook's eyes. I mean, there are so many advantages, knock-on advantages to that, even if you're only scaling with 5 or 10%. And Mario knows how to turn that 5 or 10% into 15, 20, or 30%. And he's going to be talking about that a little bit later as well. But all right, Mario, you ready for the next one?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. Okay. So this really just, reiterates what we were just talking about before. Like in the previous slide, you saw an evergreen scale and a trend scale, right? So we're literally right on the cusp of one of the two best events for selling ShineOn message cards, ShineOn products in general, probably. We'll see how Father's Day does now with the expanded catalog that you guys have. But, historically, Mother's Day, little less competition in the auction than Q4. Q4 can often be pretty tough for people to scale their first time. It's sort of like a tidal wave of competition. If it works, it's awesome for you. But Mother's Day, it's kind of, we've seen it. We've seen people in this community that previously haven't been, even top 100 sellers all of a sudden be in the top 5 or the top seller, right? Something in Mother's Day, if you hit it right, can be a great opportunity. And we're right on the cusp of that. So we're in a situation right now where there's a lot of different moves that are, even if Facebook's algorithm, which it isn't as consistent as it was this time last year. There's a lot of moves that it doesn't even really matter because you have such amount of momentum behind you that you can kind of take advantage of the fact that it's not terribly consistent just because there's that much buyer demand, right?
Totally, man.
Yeah.
You ready for the next one?
Yeah, sure. Also, the second point on that is, you don't want to always be scaling to, maybe you do, but like the stress of, doing 50 grand days, 100 grand days, between clients, or 200 grand days between clients and mastermind students, like that's pretty freaking stressful. Like Q4, you don't always want to be running that amount of stress. And, money, you can buy a lot of happiness with money, but, past a certain point, do you really want to be, flooring it at all times, taking that daily stress? Like I remember the day after the cutoff from Q4, I woke up, thought I had like 8 ads, every day I had 8 stores to scale. And I got to the computer and my hand was, shaking from the 2 months of adrenaline. Right. And it was nice. It took a couple of days to wind down, but it was nice to kind of take a break. An evergreen scaling strategy, you're not going to be doing the same big numbers every single day, but you're going to have some consistency. Right. And, back to Gary's point from before too, after you have that huge, massive spike, well, you can put some things in place. You can outsource some email marketing and sell some different products. In a later slide, you'll see, in Q1, you can take advantage of a lot of that data because there's not as much competition. So there's times where you can just absolutely floor it. And frankly, if you floor it enough, you can hit in a month or two your whole target for the year, and then reevaluate how you want your year to look on a lifestyle basis, on a business basis. Take some time to think, bigger scale. What do you want? Because if you're just always pushing it with the massive amounts of adrenaline, which is what it was like in 2016 when I first, got to a couple $1 million in sales and started an agency and was running another business. It's just too much, right? So, keep things relative, guys. Like, don't let that first big win. Sure, you want to get hooked on it and use it, but try to use it in a healthy way.
Yeah, I would, I can second that. There's a lot of lessons in there in what you just shared. I remember I had scaled many, many times before. And I remember in 2019, when I caught a winner for Q4, I caught it late. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't really hit the winner.
Yep.
I was kind of distracted, if I'm honest with you. I didn't really hit the winner till like a week into December. And I knew I only had a very short amount of time to juice it for all it was worth. So I went crazy with my ad spend and scaling. And I remember 2 things stood out to me. I remember one morning in particular when I was optimizing my ads. I had the way I was scaling back then, it was with lots of ad sets. I think I had like 500 ad sets. I can't remember how much, like for $250 a piece or something. It was some incredible amount of ad spend. Mm-hmm. And I remember in the morning, I was trying to cull all the losing ad sets out, and I refreshed the screen, and like it literally had been like 45 seconds since my previous refresh. Yeah. And I had spent like $3,000 or something like that. And I just remember it was like, I didn't panic, but it was like, it was time to put your hat on backwards and slam the Red Bull, it was like, it was go time. Yeah. And I remember it was like a few days later, I was doing dishes or something, and I almost felt like I had like a mild panic attack just doing dishes. And it was like there was nothing that sparked it. It was just like,
well, your adrenal system,
adrenaline, man.
Yeah, your adrenal system was getting fried. Like you had to,
yeah.
You can't be running at 150% at all time. We're like, it does not work. The human will not work for the human body.
But it is exciting.
But it's awesome. Fun. And it can be you can do a life-changing amount of money in a very short period of time. Right. But that comes with certain mental changes too, that kind of mess with your head. So like, that's been a cool, like an interesting sociological problem that I've run into in the 4 or 5 years that I've been coaching and scaling people is, and I try to get people ahead of it as much as I can possibly now is, when you hit that first $1 million or $500,000 or something like that, or certainly over $1 million, all these opportunities come your way. You post a screenshot, everybody wants to like hire you to do stuff. You could start an agency, you could coach, you could do a million other things. You could start more stores. You can reinvest that money into a new program and learn YouTube affiliate marketing. It's just like nonstop. You got to just like, you got to try to get centered, or you're heading for like a crash, right?
Yeah, totally. And you're basically a pro now because you've done it like 25 times or something like that.
Yeah, it's probably the ballpark. Sure. Yeah.
Hey, can you take I want to throw this question at you real quick.
Yeah, I saw that.
I just think it's relevant now. It's from Sheila.
Right.
Mario, will you talk about the opportunities that scaling to success can open up? I want some mental targets to work towards. You kind of were touching on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So now you have an asset that, and I was actually having a conversation earlier with somebody in the community that, has a fund that buys stores. And it's one thing that's been frustrating to me is that, over the last 4 or 5 years, I get people to $1 million or multi-million-dollar drop shipping store or, $500,000 or what have you. And, it might be the right move for them to sell and cash up and do again what they just did to get to that point. But, they're getting bombarded with all these shiny objects that they just aren't quite prepared for. And the same thing happened to me with my first, mill and a half store. So like there's too many opportunities that come your way when you have some fast success. And a lot of people just say yes to all the wrong ones. Okay, let's talk about stuff that is a good opportunity. You can take your profits and organize your books and sell this store off and pretty much double up probably what your take home was. And if it's the first time you've done $1 million store or $500,000 store, it's probably a smart move, because that first time you did the million, you're going to be chasing that high, and you're going to go through certainly after Q4. It's not like you're going to get to 50 grand days, at the end of December or beginning of January again, at least until much later in your career, and you have a wider aspect of things you sell. So, it's not a bad idea to think about cashing out and starting a couple more stores. And then, because after you have that first winner, you need to prove, okay, you're in the game. I did $500,000. I did $1 million. I did $2 million, whatever it was. You're in the game. But now the question is, can you stay there? Did you work hard enough to get there? And is that replicable for you? And are you too dependent on one traffic source? What if Facebook just shuts you down? Right? Have you quit your job? Have you, changed your lifestyle? You got a more expensive apartment, car, jet ski, whatever. Like, I like jet skis, but, shiny object syndrome. You can accidentally say yes to way too many opportunities that are not congruent with what your current skill set is. And so, it's a matter of filtering out opportunities, trying to stay grounded, not rushing into things, but also not falling in love with maybe, your marketing is not to a point where you're really in the game to stay yet. Maybe you have another challenge ahead of you. Maybe you should sell and, and prove to yourself that you can rebuild something from another thing. Okay. Other opportunities, email marketing, other products, starting a social media marketing agency. Now that you have the proof that you can get results, because you're going to have these spiky results, especially early on in your career with any e-commerce store, anything you're selling, whether it's family gift giving or gadgets. You're not going to, in your first year, second year, be able to consistently hit those numbers. It's very rare. So maybe do maybe there's something in the business that you particularly enjoy and you're particularly great at, right? And then you bring that as a client business and you get people under you and you train them. And so you have a service that you offer that brings you in, it's pretty easy to get a social media marketing agency like 10 grand a month or something like that. You only need a few clients, right? And you get one person under you. So you have this like steady money coming in, and you don't have to dip into your profits from your big win with something else. And the more congruent, in this case, the more congruent the clients you take on are to what your skill set that you already have, the better. Because if you just don't do what I did, which was start a social media marketing agency after I posted my first $1 million screenshot in 2016, take on 10 or 20 projects that were completely different, like from brick and mortar to nightclubs to Amazon to like $30,000 jewelry, Italian brands. Like, well, what the heck was I thinking, right? Like, you got to have a congruent offer that's going to make you better at what you're currently doing. So it's leveraging and doing more, but without doing everything.
And I have one more benefit.
Yeah.
You might get unique job opportunities. Like yeah, somehow I ended up here at ShineOn after scaling with ShineOn. But Kirsta is now here with us.
Yeah, that's working out pretty dang well. Good Lord. That guy's putting up numbers.
Yeah. Mauricio Reyes is here. Daniel Reyes is here. Stephen DeGracia has joined the club. There are also other job opportunities, not with ShineOn, right?
Sure. Well, look at Matt Baugh, a top seller. Now he got a side gig as a coach in my crew. Right?
And there's another gentleman. His name escapes me right now. I apologize, but he wrote into us saying that because of the skills he learned here and being able to scale and then have kind of the proof of his skills, with the screenshots and all that, he was able to land a job at a marketing agency. So there's a huge knock-on effect here to developing this skill set and putting up some numbers. So anyway,
maybe you're good at making TikTok creatives, right? Maybe you're good at running TikTok ads, which there's just like so much demand for. Like it's whatever you get out of any success. You think about, take a breather and think about how can I leverage the success without, leveraging it too much either and losing your mind, right?
Yeah, 100%, dude. All right, let's are you ready for the next one?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that was a really good question. I'm glad that came up. Yeah. Okay, so this was kind of a mental just mind dump of a bullet point. So let me untangle this one a little bit, right? So you guys got to understand that marketing, e-commerce, certain things are change at a faster pace than others. There's core fundamental stuff that will always be true, right? You need a fast, high converting website. You need to be able to run, quality ads, but, sometimes you can lean on algorithms more than others. Sure. So like, if you look at the left there, okay, this was, I think we got up to at least for a few days there to be the top seller for Father's Day last year. And, I'm at that 30 grand day and I'm messaging Eric. I was like, hey, I think I'm gonna hit 50 grand or 100 grand in the next couple of days so I want to make sure that they could, produce this product. And what happened was literally that next day where you see it go from 30 down to like, in the 20s, that was when the massive adaption, like mandatory update of iOS went through. So some of our strategies were working awesome, all of a sudden stopped even serving ads. Like these manual bids strategies that were working didn't serve ads, right? And then so, we had to do a little regrouping, mastermind, go to masterminds, hire, some of my favorite consultants like Tim Bird, like to share data and figure out what's the big strategy for Q4. And, the CBO algorithm at that point had just had a really nice run of being super stable. And, we had plenty of clients that just all they did was kept doubling and duping their CBOs to higher and higher prices, and everything would work fine up until a certain point. And you could look at everything on a weekly time frame, and even if you had a couple bad days, that algorithm would kind of make up for it on a few days, and it was very stable. And we dealt with a lot of instability last year. If you talk to anybody that's been in the game for a while or also beginners, the biggest complaint is usually instability within Facebook. Well, in Q4, we took advantage of that and its instability and that poor attribution to focus on things that were working that probably hadn't worked as well a few years back, but the massive data loss of Facebook kind of brought it a little farther back to the Stone Age. So stuff that had worked a few years before was for Q4 working well. And as Q4 progressed, now some of the stuff that had been working earlier that year, now that Facebook had more data, started to work well too. So, and you hear Chris talk about it all the time. Like he said something one time, more is more. I think he said that in the fourth quarter, because it's true. Because, if you study and all these different like Facebook hack type strategies and geek out on it like that, and not everybody has to, because you can let other people like, Kirst or myself and Michael and everybody else, at the team geek out on all these strategies and then bring you stuff that is easier, right? But, for the people that have this deck of different strategies, they're going to have to adapt them for any particular scale. And you're going to have to adapt them to the current, landscape of the algorithm and the current landscape of the auction, depending on how much competition is in there too. So some things are dynamic, and you have to roll with the punches. You can't like rest on your laurels of a skill set that worked for one scale per se. Yeah.
Totally. So do we? I'm seeing some questions here.
Sure,
you're fine with taking questions.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Please.
On, right?
Yeah, please.
Mario, if you're a newbie and have aspirations to scale a product, what steps would you take between now and Mother's Day, starting from scratch, never having advertised on Facebook before? What's the most important factors to contribute to success? So that's a big question.
That is a big question. I can touch on a couple of things. I mean, one, there was a coffee with Michael. I did what in Q4 with you, Michael, that was scaling prep stuff specifically to Facebook. It was like a checklist, right? So that can stop. That sort of checklist can get you ready for what it takes as a business owner to scale, and also give you a few, save you on a few things that might slow your scaling down from a terms of service point of view, and just things that I've seen over the years that Facebook kind of shuts you down on. So you want to look for that coffee with Michael. It's called Prep Scaling or something. It's one of the ones we did before. So that one will talk specifically to that. And newbies, factors that contribute to success. The stronger your product is, the less of a hacky day trading kind of mentality to force it to work you're going to have to do, right? So, a phenomenal product, a phenomenal quote that's on trend too. You've got your stacking advantages that you can have as a beginner. You might have some original copy or an original idea. Make sure it's on a very legible message card, and that's giving you an advantage. And then now you're also on trend with Mother's Day, knowing that you've got 3-4 weeks of some of the best time to sell these products. So right there, as a beginner, you're able to play not on easy mode, but certainly not on extra hard mode with that. So yeah, thinking like knowing, like studying what it takes to like a checklist to deal with, the Facebook algorithm. And then you can leverage having the best possible product. And, if you're on TikTok or if you're using a video ad, you can leverage if you have a better product and a better creative than your competition, even if they have more Facebook skills, you're going to be able to play at a somewhat even level.
So I want to go back to a comment. You said Kirsta was saying last Q4 that more is more, right? Mm-hmm. And so I assume that kind of what is meant there is he's basically saying like more platforms, more strategies, more creatives. I mean, he's literally just saying that like the more you attempt to scale, right, mm-hmm. the more you'll scale. Right. Is that roughly correct?
Sure. And I mean, absolutely all that. But even if it's just one platform and you're trying multiple different creatives, multiple different scaling strategies simultaneously, whereas before you might have your favorite strategy that's worked for you before, that's not going to necessarily work for every event of the year or for evergreen times, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Certainly more traffic, certainly other traffic sources, and you guys internally are really doing a ton of that, and it's working out awesome. Obviously, yeah.
Around Q4, I remember Kirsta was it was just unique. I just hadn't seen this before. I mean, it makes sense. Kirsta has a handful of scaling strategies, right? Mm-hmm. There's probably 4 or 5 of them he's sitting on at any given time. Probably more, I don't know. But I was watching what he was doing in Q4 last year, and what he would do is he'd create campaigns with each of those strategies every single day, and then he'd see which strategy was popping off, and then he'd just double down on that for the rest of the day. And then the next day, boom, it was like he'd start with different strategies again, see which one took off, and then double down on that. And I just found that so interesting, that rather than taking one strategy and just kind of throwing it at the wall day in and day out, he just had a bunch of them, and he was just seeing which one the algorithm favored that particular day.
If you look at the left slide here, if you look at the left slide here from the Father's Day run, we ran, I think 4 or 5 different strategies there, and 2 of them were working better. And so we let obviously more money spend go to those. And then the ones that were working better died off on the right side because of the iOS thing. On the right side, and in Q4, we had one major move that was the foundation of most of our scaling for multiple millions of dollars. And so we just ran with that, right? And that was just an advantage of it's working in this crazy Q4 algorithm. And it doesn't hurt that we're scaling within the group at least 8 or 10 different stores and could compare like what was working. So,
yeah, totally.
a bit of an advantage there. Yeah.
Okay, you want to hit the next one?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
All right.
Okay, so I bring a bit of a day trader type mentality to the way that I like to scale. When I scale, it like probably looks like super aggressive, and it is in a way, but it's super aggressive, but it's also very risk adverse, right? So what I'm looking for is to have if we go on a day by day basis, I want my winning days to be as large as possible and the losers to be as small as possible. Okay. And in order to do that, it's important to get very aggressive when things are in your favor. Okay. But at the same time, you want to have a framework that when things start to go against you, you have either rules with third-party software or within Facebook, or you just write them down on a notepad and you follow the rules non-emotionally as much as possible. At least you can have emotions, but you still have to take the actions that are part of your marketing strategy, right? So like for an example of this would be a very popular framework for a lot of scaling strategies within the community. It's again the Tim Bird strategy, which is called a shotgun. The basic gist of this is you have a lot of ad sets, you have a relatively high potential spend, but if things start going against you, the ad sets or at the ad level gets cut off at a predetermined percentage of loss. And what can happen here is your losing days will be much smaller than your winning days. And if you have enough momentum into your scale, it starts to get to a point where your losing days actually end up taking a small profit because you have so much momentum from previous days, email marketing, SMS, just people tagging and sharing their friends. You get enough momentum at a certain point in the scale that the days that if you just let it run, you would have taken a loss. But if you took a loss early in the morning based on things just aren't going in your way, well, then you can actually turn the corner and turn that small loss into a small gain, even on your worst days. So for example, in this, the fourth bullet point down, you might start the day with, it comes to a potential spend. So you might have, a potential spend of around $5,000, but you have a cutoff rule of 10%. So the worst thing that can happen is if you don't get a single sale by 540 in spend, which is very unlikely. You probably don't have a winner if that happens, right? On your worst possible day, you could lose, a few $100s, right? Chances are you get a few sales and you lose on your worst possible day, lose a couple $100s. Well, if the day is going in your favor and you've got the momentum and your website's, been stress tested and everything, and you're on a winner and, you're having a great day, well, you probably won't spend that whole 5,000 and 5,400 in potential spend. But on the losing day, you spend 500. On the winning day, maybe you spend 1,500 or 2,000 of that, and you're at a nice ROAS and you take home a profit of $1,000 or close to it. So on your worst day, you lose a few $100. On your best day, you make $1,000 or more. And even if every other day was a loser and a winner, you're still going to end up ahead. But on a winner, that's not how it is. You end up having way few losing days.
I'd also say that a lot of this is mindset. It's strategy, yes, but for me, it gets categorized under mindset because I use the same kind of mindset with my old strategy as well, where the idea was I was going very aggressive. Like if you saw the amount of spend that I set up, it was enough to give you a heart attack.
Sure.
It was a lot, but I was also very, very, all of my ad sets had to earn their right to live. Right. Right. I had some very, very tight rules governing the several hundred ad sets that I would launch every day.
Yep.
And as soon as things started to get outside the bounds of those rules, I ruthlessly culled them. Right. Yep. I didn't sit there and play with it. I didn't chase emotion. I didn't go, oh, well, this one did get a sale like right out of the gate for like a few bucks, but it hasn't had a sale in, the last $60 in spend. Maybe there's something there. I did not allow myself to play games like that. I had my rules, and the rules literally dictated everything back to me. It took the stress and the emotional component of the decision making completely out of it. So this whole like approaching it kind of like a day trader thing resonates with me deeply. It makes a lot of sense. I also want to say that
it's not the only approach to success in marketing, of course, either. It's just it's an approach that works for me and and my clients, and it's how I have found my success. Right? There's more than one way to skin a chicken. So I don't want everybody to feel like they have to be a day trader to have success in e-commerce.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. By the way, there's a lot of ways up the mountain, so you're totally right about that. We see people come through and scale, and they'll literally, it's like it's like they catch a wave, and they're able to just ride it for a long time.
They just got a couple CBOs at a few $1,000s, and it's just like every day is 10-20% margin. Take home
and they ride it for 3 months. Sure. So yeah, there's a bunch of different ways up the mountain. Certainly not all like this. I think this is what attracts probably people like you and me, where we turn into a little bit of adrenaline junkies on this stuff. We like this kind of stuff. I love taking a campaign from nothing to as high as it can possibly go in as short a time frame as humanly possible.
Right. And if you can't just do that by if you're going to spend 20 grand in a day, 3 days after you were spending $1,000, you better have some rules in place. You're not going to be able to grow set it and leave it campaign without in that amount of time without having some pretty strict rules in place.
Yeah, totally. Well, it doesn't this, in a way, it reminds me, I guess it's not the same thing, but it reminds me of this chart up here. It's kind of, you've got this very aggressive scale here in this limited time frame for Q4. And then you've got this different strategy you used for more of kind of an evergreen approach.
Right.
So, okay. Let's hit the next one.
Dean asked a good question about third-party software. Dean, RevealBot's a really easy one to use. It's got a 2-week free trial. Magic X, I know, is a very popular one. It's got a lot more features, and it can trigger based off of a lot of events from multiple places like Google Analytics, Shopify's API, your Facebook dashboard, and all that kind of stuff. So Magic X is if you're at the level and want to be at the level of deep data third-party tools. RevealBot, really easy to use, easier to use than Facebook's rules, and more consistent and more options. So yeah, it's a good place to start.
Cool, man. All right, you ready for the next one?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's go.
Okay. And I touched on this before, right? So keep your profits high and your losses low, right? So this is also a mentality that you want to have before you even do the scale. Right. So let's say you got a winning product, and, there's some members of my group in here. I can see we call it, phase 2 development. And we're seeing 1 or 2 versions of a product, or, maybe one version of a product that's showing some very promising KPIs. And we're going to wait for like a little bit more for that wave of Mother's Day. And then we're going to, floor it with a strategy like what I talked about. Well, it's important to kind of decide how much money you're willing to risk as a loss on just the scaling portion, and what is a realistic potential profit to take home, right? And so let's look at this for an example, right? So sometimes when you go from a low budget, hey, I think I got a winner, oftentimes you go from that immediately to $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 days within a few days. Well, you're going to have to build up some momentum in the first few days. It's nice when the first few days are profitable, but oftentimes the first couple of days, you're going to take a small loss to build enough momentum. And also to maybe you're testing 4 variables. Maybe it's 4 different versions you're scaling, or 4 different audiences or creatives or whatever. And after those first few days, it's going to stress test your website. And you're going to look for holes in your website, like, hey, why is my AOV low or conversion rate low? I need to look at something. You're going to learn about the variables that you tested in that scale, because it's the first time you're pumping a larger sum of money in. So statistically, your next set of 3 to 5 days is going to do much better on a scale than your first 3 to 5 days, right? Also, there's a chance that you think you have a winner and you try to scale it and it just doesn't work, right? So you want to have your potential loss on a failed scale to be significantly smaller than your potential gain if it goes well. So I threw some numbers out there for an example, right? So let's say I'm at like in a testing phase, and I've got one thing or a couple things that are going well, and I want to scale them. Maybe my risk tolerance on a first scale would be to take, if the first 3 to 5 days take a hit, maybe I pull the plug on this, right? Like maybe this scale didn't quite happen. We got to reevaluate what's going on here, right? So let's say you lose, let's say you do 3 days, and you're willing to lose 300 to 500 at the worst possible case scenario of real money take home losses. Okay, so you're truly risking, because you've set your rules into place. Even though you have this potential spend of $5,000 a day, you're truly risking like 300 to 500 a day. So you give it 3 days. Worst case scenario, you lose like $1,000 to 1,500. Okay. Now, a realistic potential gain, if you have, say, 20 days until the cutoff for Mother's Day or something like that, a realistic potential gain when things go your way, I'd say a mid-level, not terribly conservative, not super aggressive, especially for your first scale. You could realistically have 15 or 20 days averaging out at a take home of $1,000 profit, real money in your pocket. So in this case, you're looking at like a 10x if potential gain at a risk of 1x. And even if this was a 50-50 chance, I would take this business risk, this gamble, this risk any day of the week. But if you're onto a winner and you're riding the wave, well, it's already going to be a better than 50-50 odds that a scale is going to work for you. But even if it was 50-50, I'd do this every day.
Yeah, 100%, man. At least the way you laid out the odds here, it seems like if
based on reality, it's based on real scales. It's based on.
Yeah, I didn't mean it like that.
Oh no. But like people would see this at a webinar or something, and it'd be like, yeah, awesome, sign me up, But like this is a real like set of numbers that I'll give for client. Be like, yeah, risk a G or two, and if it goes the worst, you lose a G or two. If it goes to plan, you make tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I mean, look,
some real things. No.
Nobody would actually do this if the upside wasn't there, right? I mean, ShineOn, for example, no print-on-demand company, but just ShineOn as an example, wouldn't exist if the math did not work in the favor of the seller.
You certainly wouldn't have a big in-house media team making money, right? There's definitely print-on-demand companies out there that don't have that they make money because they make $1 per unit or something. That doesn't mean that their business model or what they teach necessarily makes money for the end user. Whereas you guys are putting your money where your mouth is, and that goes to show. I'm not trying, rah ShineOn, but I am.
Well, as Eric Todd would say, we eat our own dog food here.
Yeah. So like that goes to show that it's a reality. It's not this isn't a mythical. It had one person out of 20,000 that bought a course was able to do this. This is a replicable thing that we can do over and over again, and anybody listening to this can do over and over again.
Totally, man. Okay, are we ready for the next one?
Yeah, sure.
I think the next one's a good one. Oh, almost.
Okay.
We have an announcement coming up, people. Stay tuned.
All right. So let's say we're using a similar kind of framework where I talked about, where we go from like a low spend and we think we have a winner, and we're going to throw a bunch of ad sets off on it and set up rules. Well, we want to improve on our scale by having some variables at least in the initial scaling, if not the entire time we scale, and that's time dependent. So we want to have a manageable amount of variables. If you test way too many variables at once, it's just statistically like you're still going to be just best guessing it, or 1 or 2 sales here or there is going to skew your data, right? But if you test like 1, 2, maybe 3, 4 variables at once with your initial scale, well, then after like 3 to 5 days, you'll probably know, unless they all do the same, which sometimes happens, which is annoying. But for the most part, if you test 4 variables, 1 or 2 of them will obviously do better than the other 1 or 2. A perfect example could be, all right, you got 40 ad sets, all go into one big audience, and it's 4 different message cards to the exact same targeting and the exact same, to and from, congruent with an event. And but it's a variation in the graphics, or it's a different. It could be one could be white background, one could be black background. It could be that simple. And then the other variations could have some of the copy flipped around. Maybe it's got 2 or 3 romantic or loving phrases that are, are strong within the same card. Well, you could do a black background with layout 1, black background with layout 2, white background with layout 1, white background with layout 2. So you have 10 ad sets per. And then after you've spent, a few $1,000s and run up some sales, it's going to be pretty obvious to you. All right, well, it turned out it was black background layout 1. Ended up being my best one. And now I'm going to focus in on that. And then my next 3 to 5 days, partially because I have momentum and partially because data is showing me that variation, be it variation 3 or 4, what have you, is the stronger one. But if you have way too many variables, like different creatives, videos, pictures, different targeting, different backgrounds, different quotes, you throw enough against the wall, you might get lucky and one shows itself to be the winner. But did you really buy enough data on every possible variable? Right? It's not as scientific, and you're buried in data versus having a nice clean A/B test or ABCD test, right?
Yeah, and anybody that's worth their salt is totally going to agree with you on this. Your test, if you test too many variables at once, it's almost pointless. It's almost a waste of money because the data, you won't be able to interpret the data. Mm-hmm. Unless you have just tons of money to throw at it.
Oh, yeah. It's called a multivariate test, right? So if you have the more variables you add, it exponentially, and I'm not a mathematician, but you get the concept, it exponentially, the multivariance gets bigger. So yes, if you had enough money to do multivariate testing, like you're doing tens of thousands, $20,000, $50,000 days or what have you, then that's great.
Yeah, I mean, so what Mario's saying is if you want to test 5 variables, for example, it may cost $500 to do that and get enough data back to really understand which of the 5 variables is your winner. If you want to test 25 variables, it may cost you $10,000, right? You've got or probably more than that to throw at the test.
Just throwing some numbers out there, for sure. That gives you an idea.
Yeah. So anyways, okay, cool, man. Let's see. I'm just checking in on the chat. I see a few kind of questions here, but unless they're super relevant, I'm not going to grab them right now. All right, let's move on. You ready?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, this is just a throwback value drop for you guys to the last Coffee with Michael we did on scaling. And it goes back to, somebody asked a question here. So if you just search Coffee with Michael's or if you grab that URL, I don't know if any of my staff's on, they can just put that in the chat for everybody. You can go back to that Coffee with Michael and there's some really nice, just hard-earned, boring Facebook tips that I wish I had known before or when I first scaled, just to I could have made so much more money on my first $1.5 million back in 2016 had I known just a few basic bullet points.
You can find these on the YouTube channel too, people. Okay. If you go to our YouTube channel and you just look for this thumbnail, I mean, it might be kind of hard to see because we got a lot of thumbnails, but when did we do this? Was this 2 months ago?
Oh, I don't know. Caleb, Regina, are you guys on this Coffee with Michael? Oh, sorry, are you on this call? Can you just put a link for people to go back to that one so it's clickable for them?
Okay, we got a link coming your way then, folks.
Great. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yes. All right, now the fun stuff. So I'll if you don't mind, I'll set you up here, Mario. So Mario and ShineOn are kind of partnering, and we've created a scaling program. So this is not, I want to be clear, this is not coaching. This is a done for you scaling program.
With you.
Sorry?
With you is a better way to say that, right?
Done with you. Okay. Appreciate that. Done with you.
It could be totally for you, but you're going to get a lot more out of it if you press some of the buttons too.
Okay. Don't let me misrepresent here. So it's a done with you scaling program. And when I say it's not coaching, I mean, I'm sure you'll learn as you go, right? Yeah. But it's just
you get more coaching out of me than I probably want to give with it. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. So Mario's saying there's coaching in it in that respect, right? So it's a done with you scaling program. ShineOn and Mario have kind of partnered together to make this a reality. So if you have a winning product or you think you have a winner, something with potential, Mario can help you take it from, the first time you scale, I promise you're going to leave meat on the bone, 100%. You may only be able to scale your product to 30, 50, $100,000 in revenue. But if you get somebody experienced that knows how to scale, they can turn that $100,000 in revenue potentially into $500 or $1 million in revenue, depending on your situation in the product and all of that, right? There are a lot of variables. I'm not making any guarantees or anything like that, but there is definitely, like, with certainty, I can say this: there is going to be a difference between your results if you're brand spanking new and it's your first time scaling versus somebody that's experienced that comes in and helps you, right?
Yeah.
That's
Or
the
somebody that's in a slump, or somebody that wants to see how I scale. It could be, I've had very successful people scale with me, and they might have done $1 million a year, and instead they did $4 or $5 million a year, and that was a lot of fun for me too. Like, it's all fun, but yeah, and it's not just for the first time you scale, but yeah, I mean, I think almost anybody can get a lot of value out of that.
Yeah, 100%. So I just, like, that's the advantage of the done with you, right? Scaling
Sure.
that we're offering here is that it's going to allow you to potentially double, 3x, 4x, 5x your results that you wouldn't have otherwise been able to achieve without an experienced person's help. So that's kind of the program. Mario, do you want to give a little bit of a sales pitch here? And
yeah, I'll just soft pitch it. So,
or soft pitch, whatever.
No, because that's the vibe here. I'm not trying to
Guys,
to go hard. We're signed out.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries. So basically, he's going to put a link up, and Gina or Caleb, you guys can put it in the chat too. The gist here is, obviously there's a fee for myself and my staff to jump in and work with you, and then there's going to be a profit share as well. You guys get the lion's share, of course, and we're not asking for ownership in your store or anything. We're coming in as a hired gun to help you make the most out of your opportunity. We could do this multiple times over the course of the year if we have a good working relationship. This has worked out extremely well for year after year after year. When I was coaching primarily drop shipping, and now with ShineOn, a lot of the top sellers sort of naturally took advantage of this last year. And I'll come in for a very short period of time. Your website's going to be left in a much better situation than it came in, because we're going to stress test it as we scale. We're going to look at your specific product, look at your specific financial situation. If you have, what your risk tolerance is on the downside, what the reality of the event is. All right, we got 20 days till cutoff, kind of how I pointed out before. We'll do a quick 15-minute call, see if it's the right fit for either of us, give you a better idea of my opinion about what you have and what it takes. And as this develops, we'll have more and more of a checklist for you guys that want to consider doing this. But for now, just jump on a quick call with me, and if it's something you're interested in, and I look forward to partnering with at least a handful of you guys, if not a few dozen.
So I want to give you some props, because we're pretty careful about who we partner with at ShineOn. We try to make sure that everybody that we partner with has proven results. I can tell you that for example, if you look at kind of the home team here at ShineOn, you've got Kirsta, Steven DeGracia, Daniel Reyes, Jim. Like, these are all people that put up serious numbers with ShineOn products, and you are certainly no exception to that. We have seen Mario help multiple sellers over probably the last year to 18 months scale. I mean, repeatedly scale. He has been able to consistently produce results selling not t-shirts, not mugs, not drop shipping products, although he's good at all that stuff too, but specifically selling ShineOn products, right? So we know, we are confident in putting kind of our name with his, because we believe he can help you take things to the next level, and he can help you achieve results that you otherwise couldn't have without his help. So again, it's kind of a done with you program. There's coaching involved in that, like, you're going to pick up tips and tricks as you scale together, right? I didn't overstate that.
Yes, it's primarily it's a fine line right there, right? Too, and any sort of agency deal where you come in and you're scaling people. Obviously, as a business relationship, certain people are going to have more questions than others. Certain people are going to have more challenges. Like, let's say we're on a call and I lay out, okay, these are all the things I need you to put into place. Well, some people, it'll be really easy for them to set up the structure, and then I'll just have to go in there, and drive it. Other people, I do have a depth of staff now that we've got Matt Baugh, who's a top seller, who can also help with this kind of stuff. And he's got some great strengths he can bring to the table. We've got my family that's been launching ads now for quite a while that can set up the framework. So some people will need more hands-on than others. Some people, it'll be like, yeah, that makes total sense. Fire it up, and then hand me the wheel, right? And then ideally, it becomes a point where during the scale, people get to a point where I'm like, all right, you drive it tomorrow, and I'll just keep an eye on it, right? And that's a lot of fun. It's really cool to like teach somebody something, and then be able to just like hand them the wheel and see how they do. And it's one of my favorite things to do for sure.
Especially, and I want to say that I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, especially for the momentum events, because that's really where you guys can make a lot of quick money and get to heights that you didn't previously think possible. It happened to Michael with his first $90,000 day. It's happened to me multiple times where it's just like you look at the numbers and it's just like mind-boggling, right? How quick you go from nothing to something. And let me be your minority partner in that and share what I've gotten hard-earned skills over the years doing this.
Yeah, I want to, I've seen a number of people that you've helped scale, Mario, develop their own skill set around it and then go on to later scale on their own. So like, this is such an incredible look. When I was learning to scale, I had to learn on my own. I know you did too. It was school of hard knocks, man. I mean, we lost.
I very quickly invested profits in the high price mentors as well. But more than I charged. But yeah, no, at first it was like, I don't know why it's working, but it's working, like, let's see what we can do with it. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. But I'm just saying that like those lessons were not cheap, right? Like the skill set that people that know how to scale, the skill set that they've acquired, it wasn't just handed to them, right? Like, especially right now, you got to remember this digital marketing thing is still very, very new, right? It's like literally you have to stay right on the cutting edge all the time to be able to continue to scale successfully. And this is one of the things that, Mario, I've been just so impressed with you because you've done that, man. Like literally for 12 to 18 months now, we've seen you do it over and over and over again. Also, I don't want to name names here because I think it'd be unprofessional.
Sure.
But I know for a fact that there are results that maybe have been flaunted around by some other gurus, let's say, that I know for a fact came from Mario, right? I know for a fact Mario is behind those results. Again, I don't want to name names or anything like that.
I appreciate dropping that. Yeah, and I don't want to sling mud either, but thank you.
Yeah. So I just, my point is like, we can certainly 100% vouch for your skill set here. The other thing I want to say too is, just quickly is, there's something unique that happens the first time you're able to scale a product in your mindset, right? Because you suddenly realize when you start this digital marketing game, it's very, very easy. Most people, I would say, have a very like limited or small mindset when they come to it, right? Because they don't know how to think exponentially about sales potential. They only think linearly about it because what they're used to is trading their own time for money, right? So if they want to increase their paycheck, they have to work more hours, right? Or they have to produce better results at work so that they can get like a promotion or a raise or something like that. It's a very linear kind of form of growth. If
just naturally how most people are programmed. It's just from kindergarten, from
100%
generations of family. Most like there's people that might have grown up under serial entrepreneurs, but most people of most economic strata have come from this industrial education machine that does get you into that mindset. It's can be hard to break.
So, well, and you know what? I mean, as human beings, like I'm actually just not certain we're programmed to be able to think exponentially, regardless of our upbringing. However, I will say, like with the first time you scale, right? The first time you're able to take a few hundred or a few $1,000 and like multiply it exponentially. I mean, by orders of magnitude, turn that $1,000 or $2,000 into 50 or 100K, right? Or heck, even if it's 20K and it's kind of a small scale, it's your first. It does something to your mindset. You suddenly realize how big the market is. It blows open the possibilities behind this digital marketing game. It shows you how far you can go selling a product as simple as jewelry. It does something for your mindset that will literally change the way that you see the world. It's almost like you'll start seeing the code in the matrix a little bit, at least when it comes to this kind of thing. So there's a value in that. So there are just so many knock-on effects from being able to sign up to a service like yours, being able to have you kind of come alongside and do this done with you scaling thing where you're basically leading the way and helping blow down barriers. There's just so much value in it. It's unbelievable to me that this kind of thing can exist again. So anyways, you're definitely going to want to take advantage of this. If you want to get on a call with Mario, book a discovery call with them. Figure out if this is right for you. Go to ShineOnScalingWithMario.com. ShineOnScalingWithMario.com to sign up for a call. ShineOn Scaling
Mario,
with Mario.com. Matt says the first time you scale, it's like taking the red pill. I love that, actually.
Yeah.
I love that. Redpillscaling.com.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, great. Looks like you got some folks signing up. Sabrina says you're just one product away. 100% Dean loves it. Sabrina, I love this. Christina, I was literally just a day ago told my husband, I wish there was something like this available. I even threw out Mario's name as a possibility.
Okay.
That's amazing.
All right,
Shine
guys.
on scaling.
I'm gonna do my 100% best for you guys. This is a lot of responsibility put on my shoulders, and I respect that. And something we're good at, but we stay modest and at the same time. And I appreciate you guys putting your faith in me on this.
Yeah, no, dude. Are you kidding me, man? It's a privilege. So yeah, this is gonna be awesome. ShineOnScalingWithMario.com. All right. Let's move on here. ShineOnScalingWithMario.com. I'm just trying to get my pointer back. All right, let's wrap this up.
Sure.
Mother's Day. Everybody, all eyes are on Mother's Day right now. May 8th, big kahuna, right? You have USA, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and what am I missing? USA, Australia, Canada, and New Zealand. Is it just 4? Feels like there's a 5th one I'm missing here. UK and Ireland is probably is what I'm thinking of. Their Mother's Day is past. So USA, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, all English speaking countries, all have discretionary income to spend on Mother's Day gifts. USA is obviously the market you want to start in, you want to target, you want to sort out your scale inside of. Obviously, any product or message card that's kind of Mother's Day oriented is going to do amazing. Don't rule out daughter. Father to daughter, mother to daughter also tends to do well on Mother's Day. Keep in mind, you've got parents that are 50 or 60 and they have kids with kids, right? So it's like when they gift to their daughter, they're gifting to a mother, if that makes sense. Not to their mom, but to a mother. And they're saying Happy Mother's Day. And that's a really common thing. I'm from the Midwest. I'm sure this is a nationwide kind of thing. But when it's Mother's Day, I mean, I'm telling everybody that's a mother, Happy Mother's Day. Right? It's not just my mom, for example. So anyway, keep that in mind. You're definitely going to want to test some different niches. This is huge. It's Christmas and spring, second biggest selling holiday the entire year. So get after it. Okay. If you like what we do here at ShineOn, you have an opportunity to earn some affiliate commissions. If you've sold at least 100 products, you're going to unlock this. Go to analytics, go to referrals. Up in the top right, you're going to have a special link. Share that link with your friends. Share that link in e-commerce groups with new people you've told about ShineOn. If they sign up through your link and they get a sale, you will get 75 cents of that sale. You'll get 75-cent commission. That's money in your pocket. So if you like what we do here, please tell your friends. You can earn some money. And then finally, until next time, if you want to start selling at ShineOn, go to shineon.com and sign up. It takes like 60 seconds. We have a Shopify app. We also have a platform you can sell on. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you join our Facebook group, bit.ly/GoShineOn, bit.ly/GoShineOn to join the Facebook group. If you're on Facebook, make sure you're signed up to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/C/ShineOnPod to do that. And then finally, we've got a ton of new Instagram content out now. It's for the last 2 or 3 weeks. We've been blasting new Instagram content. So go check us out at ShineOn. So thank you, everybody. Until next time, happy selling. Thanks, Mario, for coming on. Appreciate you, man.
Pleasure. Thanks again.
All right. Take care, everybody.